This is a paid advertisement. The opinions and views expressed belong solely to Farah and Farah and not to Action News Jax, its employees, agents, representatives, or affiliates. This program is informational only and does not comprise legal advice. The airing of this segment is neither an endorsement nor an expression of an opinion of any kind by Action News Jax. This is Legal Live, sponsored by Farah and Farah, local lawyers unfiltered.
And welcome to Legal Live. This is a show aimed at helping you understand and overcome legal issues that are affecting your life. I'm your host, Action News Jax Ben Becker. Now, the show went on hiatus for a little while because of the pandemic, but we're back better than ever. Joining me via the Farah and Farah mobile network are two of the most famous legal minds in Florida. The mega powers are back together. Chuck and Eddie Farah with the Farah and Farah law firm. How you guys doing?
Hey, we're good. What an introduction.
Ben, did you write that disclaimer?
Me? No.
It sounds like something you would write.
No, I did not write that.
The station's not taking any responsibility for anything we do.
Well, that I agree with.
Come on, man.
No, you're on an island of your own.
We haven't signed off on that.
Okay. You're the lawyers. You're the attorneys. All right. So we have to protect ourselves. You protect yourselves. That's how we roll. Okay.
Well, let me tell you, for the people out there that are listening, don't worry about that disclaimer.
Okay. All right. Well, listen. Hey, how have you guys been?
I guarantee.
Are you guys?
Okay, I'm just cutting up with you.
Are you staying safe? You doing all right?
Oh yeah. I'm sorry about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm glad. All right. Hey, let's jump right in, shall we?
All right.
All right. So
sure,
a lot of discussion of COVID-19, of course. We haven't seen you for 5 months. So
yeah.
A lot of questions for a lot of people. So can you bring a lawsuit if you believe you've contracted COVID-19 from someone? And how do you build a case?
Well, first of all, you can file a lawsuit for anything. But I mean, you've got to go through a process. I mean, COVID, you can contract that from anywhere. I mean, you can catch it anywhere. And I guess you could. I mean, if you say you got it from first of all, you can't sue your spouse, or you could under limited circumstances. I'm not sure about the question. You mean by contracting it from work or something like that? Going to work and getting it?
Individual to individual, I think it'd be very difficult to sue someone who may have given you COVID. I mean, wow, this is like expanding our legal minds here.
I tell you, Ben.
Let me jump in.
We've gotten some phone calls.
We had a case. Hold on. We had a situation recently where a woman coughed in another woman's face. Okay.
Right.
Now something like that happens, and you get COVID. Now that instance, they didn't get COVID, but let's say someone comes up to you, coughs in your face on purpose, you end up getting COVID.
Yeah.
Do you got a case?
Yeah, you could. Maybe that's an assault.
That's an assault.
That's an intentional tort. She did it intentionally, so probably won't be covered by her homeowner's insurance. So there's probably not a lot of insurance coverage for that. You'd have to sue her personally. But the situation I was talking about, the thing that comes up a lot for us, or we get calls from people that hey, I called my employer today, and I'm afraid to go to work because I'm afraid of contracting COVID. Does that affect my employability? That's a question that we're getting a lot of. And in Florida, because Florida's an at-will state, if you don't go to work, your employer, even if you're afraid of contracting the COVID, if you don't go to work, he can fire you. Florida's an at-will state unless you're fired based on a violation of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. You mean, race, religion, color, national origin. That's the only way you have a claim. So if you feel like the fear of contracting COVID is keeping you from going to your job, you don't have any protection there.
So you're saying the employer...
That I do know.
So you're saying your employer could say, look, you may have a fear about it. You may be 65 or older. You may have another issue. But look, you need to come into work. If you don't come into work, you're going to get fired. And they can do that in Florida.
Correct. Even if COVID is rampant in your office.
Wow.
Even if you have people who have contracted it. If your employer says you got to come to work or you're going to get fired, you don't have any recourse.
Wow.
The next question is you go to work and it's rampant. It's everywhere in the workplace, and you get the COVID because from work, or you can prove that it came from work. Now, what benefits do you have there? And they fall into the workers' comp statute at that point.
Yeah, if you can prove you contracted it from work, okay.
Right.
But if I'm the employer's insurance company, how are you going to prove you got it at work? I mean, you could get it walking down the street.
Or going to the grocery store.
Or anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of leads to our next question.
Very difficult cases. Now, you know that there are certain states, like in Alabama right now, and even in Florida, you've probably been keeping it up with it. There is a movement by big business to pass laws to grant them immunity from these COVID lawsuits. And that's coming up. I mean, it's going to be, they're going to maybe try to bundle it up with another package, another bill. But that's something that, shouldn't happen because, people who have been wronged should have some sort of recourse. But this immunity that it's going to give the employers or businesses is going to be a problem.
We were talking about workers' compensation before. Now, a lot of people are working from home because their office is closed. So if you get COVID-19 somehow and you're working from home, are you eligible for any workers' compensation there?
That's a good
question.
Yeah,
if you're injured at home, you're on the job.
You're on the job.
Yeah, you have an on-job injury. Yes, you are.
Now, is that an injury or
it's an on-the-job
COVID?
injury? You're on the clock. Mm-hmm. You're working for your employer. You stumbled down your stairs. You have a workers' comp injury.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you stumble down your stairs,
you have to prove.
But if you stumble down your stairs, okay, you have to prove it. But as COVID-related stuff, though, is the same idea that you wouldn't have any kind of legal recourse?
Well, you would if you could prove that you contracted the COVID while you were on the job.
So you work 8 to 5, and you have to prove that you got the virus, during that period of time.
How do you do that?
Well, that's one question. It's a good question. I mean, I guess you could do it by the process of elimination. You go in front of because in a workers' compensation situation, you don't have a jury. You go in front of a workers' compensation judge, and you have to show the judge. Judge, I started getting sick 3 days after I met this person in my house, and I had not been around anybody. I guess you could prove you have not been around anybody else. You've been holed up in your home, not meeting or talking to anybody, by yourself. I guess maybe the judge would feel that maybe you've proved your case. But the burden's on you to prove where you contracted it. The employer doesn't have to prove anything.
And back to like tripping down your steps, how would you prove that? That, hey, I was walking down my steps and I was looking at my phone because I was answering an email from the boss and I tripped and fell.
Right. Well, I mean, you prove it by maybe somebody saw you fall. Witnesses. I mean, it can always, your credibility, I guess you could fabricate it. People fabricate things like that sometimes.
It almost sounds like you should rig your house.
I'm not getting into that part of it. I'm just saying that you would be able to file a claim. Maybe you got a camera outside that saw you fall.
Eddie, it sounds like you should almost rig your house up with cameras if you're working from home. So if something happens, there's your proof.
Yeah, you got proof. It's a good idea.
All right. Well, I got one good idea. I'm good for one good idea today. All right. If nothing else, that was my one good idea. Right?
No, you got more. There's more stuff. I want to get off topic for a second, though. Is that okay? Or?
No. We got to keep you in a narrow lane, Eddie, man. We got a lot to get to, all right? I'll let you get off topic
because I got something important I wanted to bring up, but that's okay. We can do it later.
Well, is it what the Jags are going to do this year?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's about this new law on leases.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Okay. What do you got? What do you have?
Well, the reason I thought of it is because Governor DeSantis at the end of June signed this new law into effect about leases, real estate property. In Florida, from 1829, before Florida was in a state, anytime you signed a lease for real property for over a year, you had to have 2 witnesses. And I was thinking of you because you use this technicality to get out of a lease recently. But the law is now, any lease in Florida, you don't need any witnesses.
You don't need any witnesses to see you sign it?
Nope. It used to be you had to have 2 witnesses watch you sign, attest that you signed the lease for any lease of real property for a year or over. Now, that's out. That was the law since 1829. Any lease can be signed without any witnesses.
So what's the thought process behind that?
Well, because look at all the, people could use technicalities to get out of leases before. Let's say I've signed a lease, a 5-year lease for an office building in downtown Jacksonville. And I sign it by myself. I don't have any witnesses. And then, I don't want to pay the rent anymore. And the landlord says, you got a lease. No, there were no witnesses on this lease. I get out on a technicality. So I'm sure that was probably the thought process in that.
That's interesting.
And
Okay.
not requiring any witnesses.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of it, I mean, the practical part of it is probably with
E-signs and everything.
e-signs, you know? I mean, now everything's done through DocuSign or something like that. And
So
you know,
no
it's hard to
witnesses.
get witnesses.
You got to have two witnesses to a will, but not for a lease anymore.
Okay. Well, let's
it's
not
just-
speak about death right now. Why don't we stick to the living stuff? How's that sound?
Okay.
Let's keep it positive, huh?
Let's keep it positive.
Yeah.
No, you're right about
That's
that.
Hey,
Okay.
hey, how
I think
common
me
is
two
it that
sentences
insurance
for a
companies?
credit card too.
Hey guys, how common is it that insurance companies are taking advantage of COVID-19 by lowballing cash-strapped victims?
Yeah. Well, what do you mean lowballing?
Well, they
on
can
their-
settlement
oh, yeah.
offers or something because it's COVID.
Well, that's
maybe
their
they're out
MO.
of a job.
They lowball. It doesn't have to be a pandemic, Ben. Insurance companies will lowball in the best of economic times. But you brought up something that's very interesting. Is because if you look at what these auto insurance companies are making as a result of this pandemic, it's in the billions and billions and billions of dollars. And what you have not seen, at least I haven't, I don't know, maybe you got a check in the mail. I haven't gotten any rebate from my auto insurance carrier as a result of all the savings they've had.
Well, you're supposed to save a few bucks. It was a couple.
Have you gotten a
carriers.
check?
I saved a few bucks. I think it's like $4.
You did?
Yeah, $5.
How much? 4
or 5. Yeah, I could buy a coffee.
or 4?
Yeah,
$4 or
big money,
$5.
man. I spent it
Okay.
all at one place at one time.
They're doing you a big.
They did me a solid. Hey, let me ask you this: how has COVID impacted legal proceedings, especially ones that are time
Let me
sensitive?
tell you,
Oh, yeah.
well, you mentioned about, you know, lowballing, but what the insurance companies have done to take advantage of the situation we're in is lowballing based on the fact that we can't go to trial. There are no jury trials right now. Here in Duval County, we put on a kind of like a virtual trial. They were testing out a virtual trial. I'm not sure how that turned out, but that's where the insurance companies have the upper hand right now, because prior to the COVID, we were able to just say, listen, you're lowballing me. We're not going to take the money. Our client deserves more. We'll see you in court. We have a court date in 2 weeks, a jury trial that we set for a week, and we're going to see you there, and we'll let the jury decide. Well, that's been taken away from us. And, you know, the courts are doing the best they can. The judges are working overtime trying to accommodate everybody. But there's a Supreme Court order out there right now that has pushed off any jury trials. I think now this will probably go on through the end of the year from what I can tell.
So what happens?
So that's where they've got the upper hand.
Yes. What happens as a result?
Oh, you can't either take the money they are offering you, which is sometimes pennies on the dollar, or hopefully you can hold out. Some people can't hold out. I mean, they're in a bad way financially right now, and they need some money.
You just
So
wait.
yes,
Yeah.
so not only are they saving money because there aren't accidents out there, and they're not paying money out, they're holding on to the money they should be paying because people don't have a jury trial.
Right. Hey, I want to ask you about
There's
nursing
no day
homes.
of reckoning.
I want to ask you about nursing homes. What's the standard of reasonable care in nursing homes in the COVID world when it comes to a lawsuit?
Well, they have to do what's reasonable. If they know there are people that are infected, they have a responsibility to separate those people and to prevent interaction between the people who are sick and the people who are not, obviously. So it's a standard of reasonable care in a nursing home.
Does that
Probably have
change
to
because
take
of COVID?
precautions too, maintenance and cleaning and all that kind of
Yeah.
Does that change because of COVID? What
No,
reasonable care is?
Well, not really. I mean, the care now is different than the care before the pandemic, because now there's an added issue. I mean, they have a responsibility to separate them if they're, because sometimes there are some people that are more, I'm not saying active than others, and they have a responsibility to keep those people away from the people who are not so active. But
So there's a higher burden.
there's a higher burden now.
because
Now
the
they have this
COVID's in
added
the air.
issue. Now they got COVID. They have a responsibility to find out who's infected and separate those people from the ones who are not infected, and keep the employees away.
So football is back. High school football, they started practice yesterday in Duval. How much legal liabilities do school districts face that go forward with high school football? Same for colleges and college football.
It's the same thing. It's the same standard of following the COVID guidelines of separation. And I don't know if they're going to check everybody's temperature. They're going to probably limit how many people can be there. They'll be separated. There's not going to be a lot of interaction. I don't know if the snack stands are going to be open and all that. So it's, this is uncharted territory. Everybody wants to know what the standard is, but it's been 100 years since the last pandemic. And so we're sort of learning. If there's a silver lining to this what's been going on, God forbid if something again happens like this, we're going to probably know what to do. But again, it's uncharted territory, and I think people are still trying to find their way into how to deal with it.
And from a legal point of view, the legal standard, like Eddie says, it's really unknown. Is it reasonable to keep people 6 feet apart? Should it be 8 feet apart? These are the standards that normally get vetted out or get defined through court cases and jury decisions and judges' decisions.
And scientific,
based on science. And right now it's just kind of it's just all over the place.
I saw an article, and I forgot which county in Florida, but the students are being required to sign waivers. Now, maybe they usually sign waivers anyway, but now if that encompasses COVID-19, is that a problem in your mind?
Well, I don't know. The law on waivers in Florida has changed. I maybe should look into that for the next show. I'm not even sure the waiver is valid anymore, because I'm not sure a parent can sign a waiver for a minor child in that situation. So the waivers are very. There's been a lot of litigation on waivers and whether they're valid or not. I can look into that and can investigate it and report back to you, Ben.
Yeah, especially involving minors.
Yeah,
right.
But that's a good question, and I need to find the answer to it.
Well, so I have a good question. Man, I'm on fire today, aren't I?
You are.
I think being around you guys just makes me smarter. Okay? I think that's what happens. I think it's permeating. It's permeating through the screen, right?
I wish if I had that question. Well, I should have had that. I think you did ask me that.
All right. Hey,
last week. I should have looked into that. I'm sorry.
Hey, we get viewer mail or viewer questions.
Okay.
All right. How about this? I bought a car in July. It's been in the shop 5 times for the same problem. The dealership refuses to give me my money back. What do I do?
Okay. If it's a new vehicle, then you have recourse under the Florida Lemon Law. And really, your best recourse is under warranty, the federal warranty law. So you have 2 causes of action, either under the Florida Lemon Law or the federal Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act. So you do have recourse. Or if it's not a new car, even if it's not a new vehicle, if it's a used vehicle and there's a warranty that came with the vehicle, you have recourse under that. A lot of times people go to a used car lot and they see a car saying being purchased as is. Don't just look at that sticker. Even if it says you're purchasing it as is, if there's a warranty attached to it, like they got a checklist they go over before they give you the car and warranty that everything's working, you have a claim.
Okay.
Yeah, if they advertise, we perform our 510-point check before we put these cars for sale.
That's a warranty.
That's a warranty, even though it may say as is on the on the sticker on the windshield.
But how much of a chance do you have of winning that?
A good chance.
But
we handle those cases all the time. We do warranty work. If that person wants to call us, they can call us and we can look into it. But
and it's more difficult on a used car, but they're viable cases.
Yes, people don't think that. They see that as is and they think they're sunk when something goes wrong with the car, but that's not necessarily so.
Wow. Okay, and they can call you at 867-5309, right? No, that's Jenny. Never mind. So we get another question.
No, that's my competitor. I thought you gave him the wrong. It's okay.
So we have another question. Well, it's not your competitor. It's a song, man.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
All right. Hey, so here's another question.
867-5309.
There you go. Hey, I was an employee at a local hospital. I was forced out of my job by the company because I am asthmatic. Do I have a case?
That's not a protected class under Title VII. You are, unless you have a written contract with the employer, which you probably don't. Some people have written contracts.
Falls under
you're
FMLA.
probably an employee at will, and they fired you. I mean,
That's
and I don't think they have any responsibility for that.
I mean,
now, if you're on the Federal Medical Leave Act, if you're
FMLA,
if you're under FMLA, it's a different story. Or you're filing a whistleblower claim or something like that. That's different. But generally, you really don't have much recourse in that situation.
Okay. This one's very interesting, and I'm sure a lot of people want to know the answer to this. Can you sue the state for non-payment of unemployment? For of your unemployment check, okay. A lot of people haven't been getting their money.
Yeah, I mean, if you get denied, then denied unemployment, and there are reasons why people just are denied unemployment.
I mean, you mean you mean like they didn't get the check in the mail they were supposed to get?
Yeah.
Or they were denied their unemployment check?
No. They were supposed to get that check, and the check wasn't.
Oh, yeah, they didn't get it.
Didn't come.
Okay.
Or
The
they
check
got
was talking
caught
about a
up.
situation
They got caught
that
up
you're
in the
fired
Florida
for cause,
system. It got caught up
or
in the
you
Florida
leave your
website
job,
system.
You don't get unemployment. Like if I voluntarily just say, I'm not, this place has got COVID. There's a lot of corona in that business. I'm just quitting. You don't get unemployment for that.
No, that's not.
when
This
you
is
get
what, no.
But you can still
listen,
file
Chuck
a
and Eddie,
case or
what
an
I'm saying
appeal
is
to that.
the website. Remember the Florida website that's been down, had all kinds of problems. People
Right.
couldn't get their money. So if you didn't get the money you were supposed to get, can you sue the state?
Well, they have sovereign immunity.
Yeah.
They got sovereign immunity. For certain things, they have sovereign immunity where you cannot sue them. You can't sue them for planning level type situations. I'm not sure you have a lawsuit there. I really don't. I don't think you can, because there are certain situations where you cannot sue the state. If a police officer runs into you, you can sue them. They've waived sovereign immunity for that. But there are certain things, like if the state decides not to put a stop sign at a particular intersection and you have an accident there, that's a planning level decision by the state. You cannot sue them for that.
But they plan a website.
But you may be
and
able
if the
to-
website is planned to fail, if the website's built to fail, isn't that a claim?
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
That could be a negligent, action that
it
falls.
Could be, is that an operational thing? I don't
It may be.
know.
It's really
Planning or operational.
I think
That
could
would
it be
take research.
contributory negligence, treble damages? I mean, we can come up with something,
Now you're talking my language there.
right?
Treble damages. No, you're talking this. That's it's music to my ears now.
Ben for governor.
All right. Hey, how about this
We
one?
need Ben for governor.
Ben, I like the way you think.
Hey, here's one for you. Can cruise companies hold on to your fees if you cannot travel now during COVID?
Got to read the contract.
Yeah, it's probably a contractual.
You got to read what it says in the contract. Now, there's a force majeure cause, something like this, where you can get out of a contract because that's what they're going to rely upon because of the pandemic. But it depends on what the contract says about reimbursement.
Force majeure? Is that it? Is that the
Yeah.
way?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I think I had that for dinner a week ago. It was good. Loved it, man.
Medium rare. What do you?
Yeah, it's very good.
Whew, it was expensive, though. Hey, here's the last one for
No, that's
you.
Medora Restaurant, not force. You were at Medora Restaurant,
That's
not
right.
force majeure.
Hey, listen, my son,
getting it mixed up.
this is not my son, but my son bought a car from a dealership. It was back in the shop days later for warranty repairs. Does he have to make the first payment when he only was able to drive the vehicle 3 days?
Yeah, he does. But if it's a new car, we go back to what I had said earlier about the Lemon Law and the warranty. So he does have to make because the payment is independent of everything else. Yes, he has to make the payment. Or they'll repossess the vehicle.
Wow. Don't take my car, man. You ever
Repo
see,
Man.
Ever see the movie Repo Man? You ever see that?
Oh, yeah. It's a
Emilio
classic.
Estevez.
Yeah,
It's old
great
school.
movie.
It's back in the 80s, though.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it. That's,
Right. I wasn't born yet.
Before
So
your
someone
time. I'm
someone told
surprised
me
you didn't-
about it. Someone just told me about the movie. I wasn't around. I was
yeah,
young.
it's worth checking out.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, guys, we appreciate it. It's been too long.
I know, Ben.
It's been way too long.
Well,
Right.
thanks for giving us a hard time. We appreciate it.
Thanks
Hey,
for
man.
having us on, Ben.
Great to see you again, and we'll see you again next month, right?
Great. Thank
Well,
you.
yeah, sounds good.
So if you have a legal question for these guys, you'd like to have them answered on the next show, send us an email to legallive@actionnewsjax.com. Thanks again for watching. For Eddie and Chuck Farah, I'm Action News Jax, Ben Becker.
This is a paid advertisement. The opinions and views expressed belong solely to Farah and Farah and not to Action News Jax, its employees, agents, representatives, or affiliates. This program is informational only and does not comprise legal advice. The airing of this segment is neither an endorsement nor an expression of an opinion of any kind by Action News Jax. Thanks for watching Legal Live, sponsored by Farah and Farah, local lawyers unfiltered.